Hello and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am Kashif Kamran and welcome to the SBL Webinar to Success for Exams in December 2024. This is the free version of the Webinar to Success I do for my YouTube channel, and this is accessible by the SBL students globally on my YouTube channel. Let's see what's the agenda of this webinar. In terms of the overview of this webinar, I will be focusing on the changes in SBL since September 23. I will just be reinforcing the changes so there is no misunderstanding. Number two, I will be discussing broadly the role of pre-scene, which is about to release for the ACCA December 24 exams, 14 days prior to your exams. I would also be discussing about the revision and practice techniques which you can adopt as a student in this last month ahead of your exam. I will be discussing the excellence in technical marks and then the excellence in professional marks in SBL. And more importantly, I will be giving you examiner insights from the latest June 2024 examiner report into the reasons why students fail the SBL paper. So let's embark upon the journey and let's look at the content for this webinar. The very first thing is the changes since September 23. You must be pretty sure of those changes, but my role here is to reinforce them so there is no misunderstanding. Number one is the pre-scene case. We know this pre-scene case is available 14 days before the exam, and the students should read it and make themselves familiarize with the industry and the organization. I'll just be coming to that shortly, exactly what's the role of pre-scene and what you should be doing. But yes, pre-scene case is a change since September 23 exams. Secondly, is the time allocation. The time allocation for the paper now is 195 minutes, so you need to be pretty sure of that. The number of exhibits you will see in the paper now are 4 exhibits. The tasks in the paper are now just 3 tasks. The task display is that on each window, you will see one task. You click the next button and you see the next task. So one window will display only one task. You do that task, you click the next button, and you go to the next window. It's just like the AAA paper I teach. Professional skill assessment. Each professional skill, there are 5 professional skills. Each professional skill will be tested, and the worth of each skill will be 4 marks. There will be no repetition of the skills. So you have 5 skills, each be tested for 4 marks. So that's 5 multiplied by 4 is 20. So this is an overview of the changes which you should be familiar with. Moving onwards is the time management. The time management now is 195 minutes, and I will be doing a simple mathematics, not making things complex. We have a 100 marks paper, irrespective of the technical marks and the professional marks. So if I broadly look at the paper, it's 195 minutes what I have, and I have 100 marks to attack. So I simply divide that. So I get 1.95 minutes per mark. So that is a simple rule of thumb you need to take to your exam hall. 1.95 minutes per mark. Now, in that 1.95 minutes per mark, 1/4 of this time is for reading and planning, and 3/4 of the time is for writing. Now, this is a very important instruction for the students because mostly students don't focus much on reading and planning, even though in a paper like SBL, that is very crucial because you have to read the requirements, you have to understand the requirements, you need to read the exhibits, you need to copy paste the information from the exhibits, and then you're preparing yourself for attacking and writing a good answer. So without reading the requirements, without understanding the requirements, without going into the exhibits, without taking information from the exhibit, you cannot produce a good answer. So there is a significance of the reading and planning time, which is 1/4 of your time you're spending on a question, and 3/4 of the time is for writing. So suppose there is a requirement in an exam paper, which is like 36 marks. So you will multiply the 36 marks with 1.95. I think you will get 70 minutes in total. Of that 70 minutes, one fourth is for reading and planning, and three-fourth is for writing. If I'm not wrong, one fourth of 70 will be something like uh, 17 minutes, and the remaining 53 minutes you will be spending on writing the answer. So please check the calculations. I'm just taking an example of a 36 marks question. You multiply that by 1.95, you get the total time, which is 70. Of that 70, you need to split one fourth towards reading and planning and three-fourth towards writing the answer. So that's a rule of thumb you can follow on time management. But it's a very important that you implement time management in your practice in the month of November ahead of your exams in December. If you're not doing any question paper uh, at home with time management, you might struggle in your real exam in December. Marks breakdown. You know the marks breakdown. 80% of the marks in the paper are technical and 20% of the marks in the paper are professional. We'll be looking at the technical excellence shortly, and I'll be focusing on the professional excellence as well. The pre-scene, 14 days before the exam. So for the ACCA December 2024 exams, this is my estimated timelines. I believe the pre-scene will be out by the 19th of November 2024, plus minus 1 day is possible. That's where the ACCA students appearing for SBL December 2024 exams will be receiving the pre-scenes by ACCA. 8 days before the exam, I do my tutor debrief on pre-scene where I share analysis on the pre-scene with my registered students. Again, this session is only available to the students who are registered in any of my course. I will give you the details of my courses if you are interested in enrolling. Even in the pre-scene course, you can enroll in that shorter version so that you can participate in this tutor debrief. Now, what exactly is the role of pre-scene? What are the do's and don'ts with pre-scene? I just need to emphasize on that just for the sake of clarification. The pre-scene, which will be released 14 days prior to your exam, will make you familiarize with the relevant organization and the relevant industry, which will come in your real exam. It also introduces you to the jargons which you will encounter on the day of the real exam. And if you believe some of the jargons are not understandable, you can just go onto the Google and search the meaning or search the synonyms of those jargons. So you better understand those terminologies. And when you are writing that in the exam paper, you can freely or easily write those jargons in your answer to impress the marker. Expect 12 to 14 pages of reading. That sets the content of the pre-scene. And you have to read it. You would need to take your notes. You need to make your summaries. You need to make yourself familiarize with the content. And if there is any difficult terminology, you need to go to the Google and search the meaning so you are able to understand that, because English might not be the first language of many students. Now, when you're reading these 12 to 14 pages, what's the best way to retain the information? What's the best way that you retain the information for the day of exam? Now, my perspective is that you're reading the pre-scene once, just like a story. You're underlining, you are annotating, you're scribbling, you're noting things down, just like you read anything. But at the end of the day, once you are read with the pre-scene for the first time, with underlinings and scribblings and everything, I would prefer that you convert the pre-scene into like an application of a model. You can choose a SWOT model, and you convert the whole pre-scene into the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat of the organization. Or you can convert the pre-scene into a port of five forces, or you can convert the pre-scene into the pestle analysis, the macro environmental analysis. You can choose any one model or even two, and you try to um, use the information which is given to you in the pre-scene and you dump them under the different headings of the model. In that way, you will remember the pre-scene in a more effective manner. So once you read it like a story, you scribble and you underline, you annotate everything so it gets absorbed here. The next day, choose a model and convert the information you read in the pre-scene into a model, like a SWOT, like a PESTEL or a Porter 5 Force. And in that way, you retain more control of the pre-scene. You know the bargaining power of the customer or supplier, you know the threat of a new entrant, or you know the political environment, economic, social, technological, legal, everything, or you know the weaknesses of the company, the strengths of the company, the opportunities and threats, which comes from the industry information. So any one or two model can be a very good analysis of the pre-scene. And then again, if you have access to the tutor debrief, the tutor will be refining it further for you. Don't spend all the time you have in the last 14 days on the pre-scene, because pre-scene perhaps needs just 1 hour or like 1.5 hours on the very first day. You read through it, you scribble and you underline. The next day you can just give 30 to 45 minutes. The next day you can give again 30 to 45 minutes. And in that way, you're just making a routine that every day I give it 30 minutes till the time I become familiar, and the information comes on my fingertips. So in like 3 to 4 days, if you give daily 30 to 45 minutes daily, the first day you have to give a bit more time, like 90 minutes. By the end of the third, fourth day, you must be having 60 to 70% of the information in the pre-scene on your fingertips. You can start recalling it. And the good thing is, by the third and fourth day, you will have your summaries and notes with you. So you're not going back to the pre-scene. Rather, you're referring to your summaries and notes, and you can just give like a quick 30 minutes each day, just revising it, just ensuring that it gets down to your mind and well absorbed for the day of your exam. Avoid researching beyond pre-scene. A lot of time, the students they saw an industry in the pre-scene like cloud computing or a football club, and they go to the Google and they start searching more about football club. They start searching more about cloud computing. No, uh, you have to be within the 12 and 14 pages. You need to read within the 12 and 14 pages, not going beyond it. So the industry information which is given to you, that is the maximum you should know. Not going onto the Google and researching it, not making use of any artificial intelligence tools or the chat GPT tool, etc. None of them. Remember, the pre-scene offers you the context, but it's not the sole answer on the day of exam. You need to understand this very well, because I've seen so many students in the prior exam settings, and I've even seen the June 24 examiner report, where examiner is of the same opinion that the students forcefully apply the pre-scene in the answer when it's not the sole answer. Yes, pre-scene can give you context when you're writing in an answer from the exhibits on the day of exam. You might recall something which you believe, oh, I can connect it and I can make it a better answer. You might remember some that the revenue was declining, or you might remember the gross profit was going down, or you might remember that there was a high staff turnover I read in the pre-scene, and you're making a point where a high staff turnover can be linked to, or you were making a point where you remember that the revenue of the company was going down, and you can use that information into answering your question. So it's more about spontaneous, because the pre-scene is absorbed in your mind. You might be remembering some important things you learned through in the pre-scene phase. So wherever possible, you can reproduce them. You can connect them with your main answer, which you are extracting from the exhibit. But again, it's not the sole answer. You're not forcefully applying it in every task. There might be a certain task which does not need the pre-scene information. So don't just forcefully apply it in every single task you do. The exhibits which are given to you on the day of exam are the sole answer, are the main answer, which you need to read well, extract information from them, and write your answer. So please ensure you are very focused on these do's and don'ts of pre-scene. Revision and practice. On the left-hand side is the revision. On the right-hand side is the practice. Let's first focus on the left-hand side and look at revision. You need to revise the key theories and models. You know, there are plenty of theories and models you have in the whole SBL syllabus under the 8 syllabus areas. I have prepared my own SBL checklist, which covers 62 or 61 main theories and models. Again, that's not an exhaustive list, and that's not a absolute assurance. That's a reasonable assurance. But at least I've prepared a checklist for my students that you can go through that checklist and self-check yourself where are you standing in terms of knowing the models and theories. But again, that is only available to my students who are registered with me in any course. Either they're registered with me in the SBL crash course or the pre-scene course or the full course. So if you are interested in any of that checklist coming to you, you have to be part of these courses, and I'll be giving you information shortly on them. Technical articles definitely are very important. You need to browse through the technical articles. You need to read through the technical articles because there are so many technical articles on the ACCA website which covers the models and theories you have in your syllabus. Particularly the syllabus area C, the articles of syllabus area C on the website are so important. You should not miss any of them. Syllabus area E, the articles of syllabus area E are so very important. You should not miss any one of them. And then the articles on risk management. They're so important. Syllabus area D. So if I need to rate the articles, I would say syllabus area E articles are very important. They cover so many theories and models. Syllabus area C, strategy. The articles given on the website covers numerous of those models and theories you have in your syllabus. And same goes with the risk management area, syllabus area D. Yes, the other areas are important. Governance areas, yes, do have articles which covers lots of models and theories. So even in the last 30 days, if you make a habit that I have to read like one article or two articles a day, you will be covering most of them. And the good thing is you will be getting the knowledge directly from the SPL examining team, which is much more appropriate for the day of exam. If you get access to my SPL checklist by Kashif Kamran, in that checklist, I have also already covered um, the linkage to the article. So wherever there is a model which is covered in the article, I've given a link of that. So okay, this model can be covered from the article. If a model is not covered in the article, then you have to cover it from some other sources. The best of them is the ACCA Study Hub. So you can directly go to the ACCA Study Hub and you can read the model, you can read the theory, and you say, okay, I know it. So that checklist is more like a self-assurance checklist, but a reasonable assurance, right? Not an absolute assurance, because again, that checklist is not exhaustive. So you need to find a way to revise. You might have made your own notes. You might be studying under a tutor. You have some summaries, whatever. There is some sort of a revision on your table which you're looking for in the next 30 days. So just ensure what would that be. In terms of practice, because there are changes since September 23, so I would only recommend you to do the papers from September 23 onwards. So you can see on your screen on the right-hand side, that's a total of 9. September 23 exam, December 23 exam, and the March June 24. These are 3 real exams. Then you have specimen 1, specimen 2. These are specimens which are released after September 23. And then you have 3 practice exams which are adjusted according to the changes which came in September 23, plus a mock exam. So that's a total of 9 exams which you look on your screen, and you add the mock exam, that becomes 10. So 9 exams available. The 10th will be the mock. So if you invest your time in this last month of November on practicing the 9 exams, then the 10th one would be the mock. In this last 30 days, you are excelling towards your success in the upcoming exams. If you follow the tips and techniques which are shared in this webinar, you focus on revision, you focus on how to go about pre-scene, and more importantly, I will be sharing the technical and professional excellence, which is much more important for you to be applied when you're doing this practice, and the time management. Okay, now just first looks at why students fail in SBL. Despite the fact we have such a good looking pass rate for SBL, it's standing at 53% in the September 24 exam, which is the highest since the paper started in September 2018. So that means the students are going very well with the changes. They're liking the changes, and they have become used to the changes. But still, with the 53% passing rate, some of the students are still struggling to pass the paper. Why is that so? What are you doing? I investigated the June 24 examiner report because I know you will not be investigating it. Despite the fact I keep reinforcing that you have to read the examiner reports, it is such a valuable resource which ACCA produces for you. The students are least bothered about investing time in reading at least one single examiner report. So I thought I should read it. I should make a summary for the benefit of you all. This is a summary in front of your screen. On the left-hand side, you can see the issues which I got from the examiner report, and there are 7 issues which the examining team rates as the most important issues why the student failed. And then with every issue, I've given a description and an impact. The first issue is copy pasting. Examining team says the student copy paste a lot. But the problem is that they're not converting the copy paste into their own explanation, into elaborating, into writing on their own answer. Copy paste is a good computer CBE exam skill. When you're working on a computer, copy paste is a wonderful technique. In our day-to-day life, we do that control C and control V so much time. The examining team is not denying you from that. They're denying you that you just alone copy paste and you don't add any value to it. So when you're reading, you copy paste. But when you're writing, you add value to that copy paste. You rephrase that. You add more sentences to it. You develop that copy paste into a very well developed point. So just leaving the copy paste on your answer, on your response area without adding any value to it, that is something which will not give you marks. So look at the impact. Limited marks awarded. So when you do copy paste, please convert that into a well-developed point, add value to it, do some analysis, write some implications, can write some sentences over it so that it converts to a well-developed point. Lack of development. You're not developing the point well. You're not explaining the point well. There is no definition of a well-developed point in SBL, but I normally tell my student that if you need to develop a point well, at least should have 3 to 4 sentences. One sentence is not a well-developed point. 2 sentences is not a well-developed point. It has to be 3 to 4, so it has that weight, it has that volume where it's explaining something. Sentence, right? Sentence is where you put a full stop. Sentence is not a line. I'm not saying 3 to 4 lines. I'm saying 3 to 4 sentences. 3 to 4 sentences can go up to like 5 to 6 lines, at times even 6 to 7 lines. So you're not developing the point well. Poor application. You are not you are not connecting your answer to the case. You're not extracting the information from the case. You're not ensuring that the information given to you in the exhibit is absorbed in your answer. Poor connectivity with the case study. And that's one reason perhaps that you're not putting time on reading and planning. You were in a rush to write the answer. So whatever you understood, you just wrote it down. You had no synchronization with the case study. That will result in you scoring less marks in SPL. Irrelevant content, unnecessary information included. Suppose you're answering a question on the macro environmental analysis. Before writing the answer, you start explaining what is pestle, what is the theory, what is the model, what is the objective of this model. This is irrelevant content. You should have directly started with the heading political environment and linked that to the case study. Economic environment, link that to the case study. The SPL examining team is just looking for application. They're not looking for that you write an introduction of a model, you explain a model, you give an overview of the model. This is not something which is relevant for a strategic business leader exam. You are a strategic business leader. Strategic business leader don't waste time on such petty or such immaterial things. They directly come to the application. Inadequate knowledge. If you've not covered the syllabus area in full, you might struggle on the day of exam because there might be questions like advantages of diversity. Now, advantages of diversity is a knowledge-based topic which you need to adapt to the scenario. But if you don't know the advantages of diversity, how would you adapt to the scenario? Or something like we saw in the December 23 paper, which was around NC Tech. there was, I think, a task two, and the task two was asking for advantages and disadvantages of talent management. If you don't know talent management, how would you write advantages and disadvantages if you're unaware of the topic? So at times there are questions in the paper which test your knowledge, but again, that knowledge is adapted to the scenario. But if you are unaware of talent management, if you are unaware of diversity, you are unaware of its advantages or disadvantages, you will struggle. Time management issues, which I just spoke earlier, 1.95 minutes per mark, and try to do your best within time. So if one task has 70 minutes, for example, do your best in 70 minutes. Don't overspend time on that task. 70 minutes are over, move on. So every task has a time. Do your best within that and move on, because there are opportunities in the next task which you can avail. Just excelling one task at the expense of the other is a very bad exam technique. An unprofessional presentation. No proper layout, no proper format, no use of a memo or a briefing note or a letter or a report, whatever was asked for. No headings, no subheadings, writing very long paragraphs, no break of paragraphs, no conclusions. If you're writing in that unprofessional manner, you're not gaining any of your professional skill marks. So you need to write very professionally with proper formats, headings, subheadings, conclusions, not writing very long paragraphs. And these are things I have already covered in my previous webinars as well. And I will just be sharing more information on that once I move towards the professional excellence in my webinar today. So these are top reasons why you fail. Please overcome that. You have 30 days, you have 9 papers to practice, including the mock. You can do excellence. Look at the issues in the column one. Check yourself. If you were failing in the SBL, are you doing this? If you're doing this, overcome them. If you're going for the first time in the SBL exam hall, this is your first exam setting, look at the issues. Don't do them. Mitigate them with a good practice of the past papers. Okay, finally, to the second last thing, excellence in the technical marks. How can you excel on the technical marks and what you need to do for that? 80% of the paper is around technical marks. Number one, understanding of the requirement. You should read the requirement well, because in the requirement, you will get to know what to do. Should I need to write the advantages of diversity? Should I need to write the advantages or disadvantages of the talent management? What I need to do? Do I need to write the implication of something? How many things to address? Is the examining team asking for just one thing or two things? Are they asking for just the advantages or disadvantages? Are they asking for one single thing in a task, or with a comma or with an and? They're asking for two things, three things. At times, you even seen three things in task. Split of marks. How many marks I have? 10, 12, 14. And how will I break these marks? How many points will I be writing? I've given a clear emphasis of the marking schemes to my students in my regular classes, that how you split the marks. So you need to know how much to write, because you might be overwriting, which is waste of time. You might be underwriting, and that will impact on your scoring ability. So underwriting is an issue, overwriting is an issue. So you should exactly know how much to write. Look at the marking schemes carefully. So what to do, how many things to do, and what are marks allocated for the task. That is important. Then definitely is the case content. Case absorption is the key in your answer. When you have read the task, you know what to do, you will go to the exhibit, you will read the exhibit, you will take information from the exhibit, which is around the purpose or the objective of the task, what you need to do. And you will find those informations, you will copy paste that into the word processor, and then you will sit back and write a good answer. Reading and planning time. This is reading and planning time, right? You're reading the requirement, you're understanding the requirement, and then while you're reading the requirement, you will identify which exhibit I should refer to. Since the changes which came in September 23, there are only 4 exhibits and there are 3 tasks. So we are very sure that one exhibit will connect with one task. It could be possible that the task 1A connects with one exhibit and the task 1B connects with another exhibit because there are four exhibits and three tasks. So it is quite possible, it's very logical that one task will get two exhibits and the other task will come with only one exhibit because it's four versus three. So you will be very sure which exhibit to read. So once you're done with the requirements, read the exhibit, copy paste the information from the exhibit, and prepare yourself for a very good answer. If you recall something from the pre-scene, you can also note that down in your word processor while you were reading through the exhibit. So once you start writing the answer, it's a blend of a pre-scene where possible and the information coming from the exhibit, which is primarily your sole answer, and you will be writing in an excellent answer. Please ensure you know the marking scheme, you know the split of marks. I've covered them in my previous webinars, and you can also see the examiner answer for the split of the marking scheme. Professional excellence, to me, that is very important. And to me, that is the difference between passing and failing. With technical marks, we are very comfortable because that's what we're doing in every ACCA paper. We know what to do, how to do. We read the requirement, we understand the requirement. We look at the number of marks, we know how many points to write. That's an area where most of us are better because that's what we do in every single ACCA paper. But professional excellence is an area which to me is a question mark. There are two things in professional excellence to me. Number one is the demonstration of journal professionalism. And number two is the demonstration of the skill which the examining team has asked for. There are two demonstrations. Look at the word demonstration. Understand the meaning. Demonstration means you need to show this in your answer. You need that should be reflected in your answer. Demonstrate. If it is reflected in your answer, you will get marks. What? Number one is the journal professionalism, which is so easier. And number two is the skill which the examining team is asking for under the task. Every task will ask you to demonstrate a skill. So you need to demonstrate that. Let's look at the breakup of demonstrating the journal professionalism and then demonstrating the skill and how we can excel on that. First, the journal professionalism. This is so easier. I don't understand why students lose marks on journal professionalism. This is something so easier and you can gain so good marks here. Answer in the right format. Letter, memo, briefing note, whatever. Read the requirement, what format to use. Use headings and subheadings. We were just talking about the top 7 reasons why students fail, and there was an unprofessional presentation. Headings and subheadings makes the answer look so beautiful, so structured, because with headings, you're emphasizing on every point. Writing long paragraphs, no breaks, no headings, that's very logical. Avoid long paragraphs. I don't know why student writes long paragraphs not giving break. After 3 to 4 sentences, ideally you should give break. And 3 to 4 sentences is a maximum length of a good paragraph in SBL with a heading. Avoid repeating points. You cannot repeat the same point again and again. If you're writing an implication, again and again, you cannot write the implication that it will affect profitability. If once I wrote the implication that it will affect profitability, the next time I need to find something else that it might affect reputation. The company might face any legal cases. The company might come into the media spotlight. I need to change my implications every time, not repeating the same implication again and again in the same answer. That's very bothering for and very frustrating for the marker checking your paper. Good connectivity with the case. The more you connect your answer with the information given in the exhibit, you are impressing the marker to give you journal professionalism marks. Case connect. Look at these 5 things. What's so difficult? I don't understand why students lose these easy marks. It's just about practicing of the recent 9 papers, previous 9 papers I've recommended you. You implement them. And then on the big day, the December 24 exams, you will excel on them. Demonstrating the skill, the next big agenda. Each task you look into will contain a statement under the technical marks demonstration of a professional skill by the examiner and how to demonstrate it. I believe the student don't read that statement very well. Either they don't read it, or they don't understand it, or they do not read it fully. There is some sort of an issue. I believe you're not reading it fully, or you're reading it partially. The statement about professional marks is very, very important because it's not only telling you which skill is to be demonstrated, but it's also telling you how it is to be demonstrated. And to me, the biggest problem comes here. How? You're not reading that. You just read that I should demonstrate commercial acumen, and you have learned the definition of commercial acumen. And you try to relate that definition in your answer. Each skill has a definition, no doubt about that. But it's about how it should be demonstrated, which is more important. Examining team will tell you commercial acumen, and then they will tell you how it's to be demonstrated, or analysis, or how is it to be demonstrated. Let me show you a glimpse. Take on the December 23 paper, which is NC Tech. Look at this task in front of you, the task 136 marks on your screen. This is the technical marks that you need to write a memo for whatever, 14 marks. But under these 14 marks, you have a professional skill, which is for 4 marks here. I told you each skill will be tested once and for 4 marks. Now, professional marks are available for commercial acumen. So examining team is telling you that there are 4 marks available for commercial acumen. But they're also telling you how. That's the problem with the student. They will stop at commercial acumen and they will think, okay, what's the meaning of commercial acumen? What does commercial acumen means? And they start relating that to their answer somehow. No. Commercial acumen is to be demonstrated, but how? Look at the next line. Look at the line in the green. By demonstrating awareness of how the data breach could damage the reputation of the company. So when I'm writing the answer above about the data breach for 14 marks, I need to ensure that how the data breach I am talking about will affect the reputation of my company. So if I have connectivity to the reputation, if I'm writing about reputation, if I'm telling examiner that how it will impact the reputation, and I'm giving the basis, I'm giving the justification of how it will have a negative impact on my reputation, I'm scoring not just the technical marks, but also the professional marks. So how would you go about commercial acumen? Not with the definition you learned from the book, but by looking at the statement of the examiner, by demonstrating awareness of how the data breach could affect reputation. So any student who demonstrate that awareness, or any student who write about the reputation in the answer and how it will be affected, you're scoring marks. Same goes with every skill. Look down. The B requirement. You have the professional marks down. Professional marks are available for analysis. But the examining team is also telling you how you need to demonstrate analysis. It's not just analysis, because there are so many different applications of analysis. But which way examining team wants you to demonstrate it? Look at the statement. By considering the current IT security manual and any additional security controls that could minimize the risk of the future data breach. So you need to analyze the IT manual which the company have in place, and you need to tell what is the issue in that IT manual. You need to recommend some additional controls to the company which they can look into for minimizing the risk of a data breach in future. So any student who carefully analyze the current IT manual, who identify the issues in the current IT manual, and who give a suggestion to the management that this is something extra we can do to avoid the data breach in future. You are not just scoring the technical marks by considering the current IT manual or by giving suggestions. You're getting the technical marks as well, but you're also adding on to the professional skills. So each time you look at a skill in the exam, be sure that the examining team will also tell you how to demonstrate it. and you're missing on that. I believe students don't read that. They just look at the word commercial acumen, they just look at the word analysis, and they start doing whatever they want to do. They're not reading how it should be demonstrated. I hope when you practice the 9 papers, you focus on that, and it will have a remarkable impact in improving your answers. Students generally tends to ignore how to demonstrate it and apply the skill the way they want it to be applied, or just by following the definition, which results in scoring less professional marks. So I hope you will excel on professional marks by the discussion I had with you in the last 10 minutes on the journal professionalism and on the professional skills. And finally, these are my SBL courses. You can reach me at my WhatsApp number given at the bottom of the screen, which is +92 333 238 3442. I have a full course, I have a crash course, and I have a pre-scene course. At least in the pre-scene course, you will get access to my tutor debrief, and you will also get access to the mock checking as well. You can see the columns against every course, what is included and what's not included. Definitely full course is the best one, which includes everything. But if you're preparing for December exams, would be unrealistic. But for March exams, it's good. Crash course could be good for December exams with 1 month remaining. You get so many things in the crash course. You can see the number of yes against the columns. And in the pre-scene, at least you get the pre-scene debrief, which I will do, and you will get access to the mock checking. So these are two wonderful things, even you can get in the pre-scene as well. But if you want to get hold of my summaries, you need to take on the crash course where I have prepared my checklist for the 61 models and theories. So all the best to all of you. I hope you must have thoroughly enjoyed this overview session on how you can excel in the upcoming December 24 exams for SBL. I wish you all the very best of luck. Take care. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.